These are the 10 watch brands you should avoid at all costs, never buy, run away, never put on your wrist. Like, never. There's 3 honorable mentions I will go through very quickly. First honorable mention is Jaquet. For sure an incredible watch company, known back in the day as the watchmaker's watchmaker that made all the movements for the top of the watch industry. Well, that time is over. I'm not saying that they're making shit watches, but catch yourself on a standard reverso for £8,100. Are you absolutely out of your mind? Please do me a favor, Jaquet, go back in your lane. If you're charging £8,100, you need to make sure that everything is top level. I feel you guys raise the prices and reduce your quality control, including the finish of your movements.
Start making great watches again.
You're not a bad brand, you're really cool, but at this point,
Jaquet.
Jaquet.
Did you get my joke now?
No, what was that?
You said they're really cool, I said they're Jaquet.
Oh, yeah, that's funny. that was funny.
Applause for that.
Well, Jaquet, get your act together. Second honorable mention is for Zenith. Do me a favor, get your shit together. You're part of the LVMH group. I completely get it. You're starting to look like Hublot. Straps, casing, everything. It starts to look so dissimilar to Hublot. Like the entire DNA of Hublot is now getting into your brand. Stop doing that. Zenith is mad, crazy important and is responsible for the El Primero, the first ever fully integrated, fully automatic chronograph and wristwatch. Absolutely the bollocks. Historically very important. However, the name does sound like a Russian hover brand. Zenith was unbelievable, but now they're really losing their DNA. I love your heritage line, and sometimes you have the people inside the business that make the right decisions, but there's also some retards that should be shot. So get shot of these retards and start making great watches again. Yeah, thanks. Third honorable mention, Panerai. I'm not gonna really go. What are you doing? Your watches are not worth as much as you're saying. You're flooding the market with dog shit. They can buy them for 60% off. I loved Panerai. I thought it was really, really cool back in the day. Now, it's just nothing anymore. Listen to your customers. It's that easy. 10 years ago, your watches were 25% the price that it is now. You raised it 4 times. It's not worth the money. It's basic bullshit.
Now that we've got the cool watches out of the way, let's get to the bad ones.
Well, let's go to the bad ones. Bremont.
Davide.
Bad
day to be Davide.
It's a bad day to be Davide. Davide Cerreto, the relatively new CEO of Bremont. Let me tell you a wee bit about Bremont. Bremont is an English watch brand. I wouldn't say real watchmakers, but you know what? Nick and Giles started the watch brand in 2002. They made some really cool watches. Some were not really my taste, and it doesn't have to be. They created an incredible community with really cool people. You could be proud of wearing a Bremont. Nick and Giles sold this. I think Bill Ackman and another investment company bought Bremont for approximately $50 million and appointed Davide as the new CEO. Well, that's not a mad problem, right? Fair enough. I have nothing against Davide, by the way. I've never met the guy. He looks like a high school professor you need to watch out for with your kids. Davide gets in power and completely changes the brand from the bottom up to the moon. Starts changing the logo, the brand message, and every bit of identity that was connected to Bremont.
Add a little bit of spice.
Launched it during Watches and Wonders 2024. When the show opened, we arrived. Literally, first thing, you couldn't miss it. Bremont there with a new logo that literally looked like Stone Island. I thought it was funny. Made a joke. Davide, the new CEO, thought it was then appropriate to block me on social media and didn't want to speak with any, whatever. Arrogant dickhead. This guy just wanted to start a watch brand but never had the money to really do it. He got himself wormed in as the new CEO of Bremont and basically started his own personal branding mission, design mission, creative mission with a brand that actually has a lot of fans. And that wasn't well received at all. And this is a big learning. When you have a brand, you want to change things, you don't change their entire identity immediately. It's just an empty watch brand that doesn't have a mission, that doesn't have an identity. It has absolutely nothing for the price of a Rolex. Brand number 9, Aventi. The fact that I actually named them is already an embarrassment for me. You don't buy them, you stay away from them. Seeing the influencers that are getting paid to wear an Aventi was quite embarrassing. Then seeing the application process for their watches, because they were so-called high demand, is an absolute embarrassment. If you see this all I need to apply for a watch type of bullshit, it's a lie. You don't have to. It's just to make it feel like it's exclusive while it isn't. Aventi, 100% never buy, and if you wear one, you're a loser. Watch brand number 8, a watch brand I never thought I would have this conversation with. Richard Mille. Did you expect that?
Since you're wearing one, no.
Yeah, but I love this. Arm 6702.
And I'm not a loser.
Just to clarify that, I love Richard Mille. I love how it makes me feel. Yes, it's got to do with psychology. Yes, it's got to do with insecurity. Yes, if I wear a Richard Mille, my balls just grow significantly bigger than they actually are, mate. This is not my Richard Mille, it's owned by a friend of mine, Owen, and he was very kind to loan me this watch.
His balls are all shriveled up tonight.
Yeah, no, he has several other Richard Mille, so don't worry about his balls. When I wear Richard Mille, I walk into a room, right? Some people in that room does know what it is. And yes, that is a fulfillment of insecurity. I am insecure, right?
Turning heads when you walk through the door.
But when I walk, it's not my looks that really make people turn their heads, but oh, yeah, that's
You don't need makeup to cover up.
Exactly, I just wear Richard Mille.
In the way that yours is not.
No, exactly, all right. Is this like a better help integration now, or what's the crack?
You're insecure, don't know what for.
Alright, if this watch was worth £5,000, it wouldn't make me feel like it makes me feel now. Simple as. A watch gives me confidence. I deliberately choose a specific watch in the morning that makes me feel better when I put it on. I think Richard Mille has peaked way too soon. I think there has been a change in leadership, if I'm correct. If I look at Richard Mille today, they don't have any more tricks in their arsenal. They're doing the same thing but different. I really love the older models of Richard Mille. Arm 1102 with the GMT, I love that watch so much. I hate the RM65. I think it's atrocious. Like, I wouldn't want to spend my money on that. The new RMW5 McLaren or whatever the f you've called it doesn't make me hard, mate. This is the era where it was cool, but the new stuff, the weird stuff, I'm not having it, to be honest. Buy the older Richard Milles, that's where it's at. And you know what? They dropped in value significantly, so that's an amazing opportunity to buy some really cool watches. Don't go out and buy the new RMs. Watch brand number 7, Frank Muller. Something that actually breaks my heart because I like Frank Muller. Frank Muller is a wee bit of a rock and roller. The guy itself is a wee bit of a rock and roller, like a lunatic, and I love lunatics. The funny bit is, Frank Muller is dead. Right? He's not dead. He's alive. The brand is dead, not the man. The man is a rock and roller, right? People say for years, Richard Mille is going to be the new Frank Muller, and I'm stubborn bastard. I say absolutely not a chance. RM is above that. People made this connection between Frank Muller and Richard Mille for the sole reason that they both use the tonneau shape, right? The tonneau shape comes back from the 30s. Actually, I think earlier, the 20s, and it was Cartier that was the first really to bring out the tonneau shape. They were ladies' watches. Then Frank Muller brought it mainstream. Frank Muller became a instant hit because the man was behind the brand. And you know what? The man was a genius. He called himself the master of complications, and he was responsible for many insane complications. He was an incredible man. People are trying to say that Richard Mille is heading towards the same type of downfall that Frank Muller has, only because it looks similar. Downfall of Frank Muller is completely different. Downfall of Frank Muller has got to do with quality control using allegedly foreign movements and foreign parts, and Frank Muller being an absolute lunatic himself. I would actually argue to say, and this is gonna hurt, that downfall could happen quicker to François Paul Journe, to FP Journe, than to Richard Mille, because the two characters are quite similar, to be honest. I really love the old Frank Muller, so what I'm saying here now is never ever buy a new Frank Muller in the shop unless you get 60% off. Then it's quite cool. Just go out and about and buy them pre-owned or buy the vintage ones. Now, vintage, the older ones. And if you wear an iced out one, you're a loser. Which number are we on, Johnny?
6.
Wow, shall we speed it up a wee bit? Studio Underdog, for sure. I think it's right. Nothing personal. I always liked Studio Underdog. It's got nothing to do with luxury watches, by the way. It's just fashion watches, but I find it cringy as and for some unknown reason, it's now becoming a cult, or it has become a cult with a bunch of losers. Look at my watermelon watch. Look at my pizza watch. Look at my milkshake watch. They're cool watches for 300 quid, but not starting at 500-600 quid, mate. I was actually surprised. I was looking on their website. They're trying to launch a watch that's for £1,700. Are you absolutely out of your mind? I love supporting the underdog. I love supporting the small guy. I am an underdog myself. I came from nothing and people supported me and I appreciate that and I love that. But I can't support this bullshit because what I see is just an absolute rip-off. People behind the brand now are just money-grabbing, greedy pieces of shit. Watch brand number 5, Roger Dubuis. Very short. If you buy a new Roger Dubuis in the shop, you have significant problems. Solve them immediately, sell the watch, take your loss, run away, don't ever look back. That's an era of your life you need to deny. Your kids are not allowed to know this. Roger Dubuis was the daddy back in the day. Introduced in the 90s, in 1999 introduced so many insane watches, really cool chronographs. Richemont bought the company in 2008, and I don't know who thought it was a good idea to just ignore the history, ignore the beautiful marvels Roger Dubuis made, and just trying to make absolutely the most horrendous watches I've ever seen in my life, period. Roger Dubuis, no go. Watch brand you should never buy number 4, Jaquet Droz. Pieces of art. Well, an art I don't like. I have never heard of anyone that have bought a Jaquet Droz new. I'm not standing for anything that loses 95% of the money. Value retention is important. It doesn't really matter to me that much, but a watch that loses 90% of its value when you buy it, that means that the brand is priced wrong. I've not seen anything from Jaquet Droz for years, and I just feel like the Swatch Group is trying to kill the brand, if not on purpose, the same as Breguet. Number 3, Blancpain. Blancpain is arguably the oldest watch brand in the world. We're not going to go in mad detail in that. They also claim to have the first dive watch with the 50 Phantoms. We'll not go into detail there, but Blancpain was dead. They were done. The name was bought by Jean-Claude Biver in 1983, who at the time worked at the SIHH. Jean-Claude Biver revived Blancpain and brought it to the absolute moon, and it was sold, I think, for 60, 70 or 80 million Swiss franc in the early 90s, at the same time that Frank Muller was started. So that was 1992. Great achievement. Jean-Claude Biver is the hero of the Swiss watch industry for sure. Blancpain today is dead. Dead. Done. Walk into a Blancpain boutique. You do not want to buy a watch there. You want to walk out. This is shit. There's no identity in that brand anymore. It's gone. It's poof. There's so much possible with a brand like Blancpain, and unfortunately the Swatch Group is doing all with it because they're making money left, right and center with other brands. It breaks my heart to tell you this, but you should never buy a Blancpain. Don't do it. Number 2, one of the biggest embarrassments of the industry, called homages. One brand in particular, Steinhardt. I'm not going to go in detail. Don't ever buy a Steinhardt, not even new, pre-owned, nor anything else. If you own a Steinhardt, throw it in the bin right now, send me a photo and I will replace it with a God-tier watch. That's a promise. Something that absolutely breaks my heart to do, number 1, is, unfortunately, the most important watch brand in the entire world. The reason why we have certain complications today, including the Tourbillon, one of the oldest watch brands in the world. But Jesus Christ, don't buy them new. Don't buy past glory. And Breguet, unfortunately, is past glory. There's very passionate people at Breguet, and they're absolutely heartbroken themselves about the current state of the brand. I would love to be the guy in 10 years or in 5 years or whatever, to have a good amount of people around me to buy Breguet from the Swatch Group and save that brand and bring that back to former glory. Breguet is one of the most important brands in the industry, and we wouldn't have the industry today if it wasn't for Breguet. And we're not talking about the financial aspect, we're talking about the mechanical marvels that we call watches. It breaks my heart. If I look at all the boutiques around the world, it is actually sad. They're empty, and it shouldn't be like that. They don't need to change their identity, they need to change their direction. Bright and pre-owned at 60, 70% cheaper.